Welcome to Trading Lounge and the indices. Just before we start though, the PPI figures are double from 0.3 to 0.6, which is good for currency. So we're seeing the dollar index here, the DXY, push to the upside. It's not much of a little push to the upside, but what sort of does concern me is that if the dollar's pushing up, we're going to see the bonds down and we're going to see the yields up. So and obviously this affects stocks in different ways. So in this case, for the TLT bonds here, I was thinking that we may have had this wave C in place here as an A and an ABC pattern here. So what I was waiting on was to see an impulse wave to the upside here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we didn't get past the 61.50-60% retracement level here. We ended up with an ABC pattern here. So it's likely now that we're going to see the yields move higher. There's a 99 point something chance that the rates are going to stay on hold. I think that's in about 5 days time when the Feds meet, 5 or 7. I'll need to double check that. So basically here we're going to see the bonds move low, as you can see the move here on higher volume here. So we'll see this here as the A wave, the B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to take a while to get down here. So while this is coming down here, we're going to see the yields push to the upside. So with the yields here doing much the same thing in reverse, I thought we may have already had an A and a B and the C here just touching below the 50% level, but the strong move here, if the bonds are going to be moving down, the yields are going to be moving up and the dollar's going to be moving up, and there's going to be a good, this is a daily chart, going to be a good 2 weeks before it gets up here higher in this space here. So yeah, that's where that twist and turn is in the market. So that said, let's go in and have a look at the indices, and on the SP500 here. So large numbers, sticky numbers, and the 5,000's got plenty of zeros on the end there. So one of my fears has been the market pulling back into that 5,000, but at the same time the tech stocks moving to the upside, but Tesla and Apple still trying to find its feet. But you know, the Microsofts of the world in the AI, they're pushing up nicely here. The Googles are pushing up nicely here as well. They'll take out these tops here. So they've got a, you know, all of those stocks have got a fair way to move to the upside. So we could see the S&P continue to push up. So I've been mindful of both situations, but I'll stay with the evidence on an intraday basis and continue to look to the upside. In the bigger picture here, though, in terms of the count here, we're looking at wave 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here, which is pretty much the same as the banks, as I've mentioned before as well. This 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, the banks drew that position down. So we're looking at the banks, this is JP here, as the 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and a nice third wave working. So we're basically working our way up to number 3 here. So the banks and the tech are on the same sort of page. Mostly, obviously some banks are different than the others, but in a bit of a nutshell, we're looking at moving up here into wave 3. So we want this wave 3 to be longer than wave 1, and then wave 4, and then wave 5 to have wave 3 up there, and then we're looking for a wave 4 and a wave 5 to make a top. Now I could shorten this a little bit, but basically this is the general gist of the pattern that we're looking for, 3, 4 and 5 up here, which in turn will make a larger wave 1 up here in this case. So we'll put this back as a wave 2 over here. You'll have a wave 1. No, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you got the sort of idea. So we need to drill in here. Now this particular trend in here, we can count it in, well, I've been counting it in 2 ways, one conservatively and one more positive to the upside. So yeah, I mean, you'd think there would only be one count that you could take, but it's not that simple, because yes, you can get a nice little 5-wave structure in Elliott terms and then get your ABC pattern and all that sort of rosy, and then you go up again. But there is the situations where you get 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and it just kind of keeps building like this into a stronger move. So been looking at both of these cases for this, and it's quite a comfortable call to put wave 1 here and wave 2 here. We could also put wave 1 and 2 here as well and shorten this trend. If this market pull back here, then we'll switch over to the conservative trend on this. But as I mentioned with Microsoft and Google, and that they're kind of making their moves now, so they could lift the market up there, and the inflation and so on is good for the currency, good for the dollar. So is that good for the stocks as well? Any exports, importers, all that sort of stuff. So from here, let's just drill in from the weekly to the daily on this, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. And this particular move here is reasonably conservative at this particular point in time. And this is looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 here, and up for 3. It's a little bit tricky in here to count, and I'm kind of inclined to put this little wave 5 up here. So there's a couple of different ways this could be counted in here, and we also know that we could also put wave 1 over here as well for this. So there are different ways to count it, but my premise has been that while we're getting on an intraday basis getting impulse waves to the upside, then we'll move with that. So this is kind of the conservative count at daily. If I go to intraday here, this is a little bit more ambitious, and this one here is 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. So we can see on the indicators here running pretty quickly on the stochastics here, not the sort of normal thing, but we all strive to be normal. So we're looking for 3, 4, 5 here, and this would kind of like put me in the same boat as Microsoft and those guys that are sort of dominating this trend at the moment. We kind of looked for Thursday to be bearish, and we had those PPI figures and unemployment figures and other figures, and so it didn't really rock the market too much. I thought it might have been a little bit more, but it's pretty sort of stable. It's just the larger market, the bonds and the yields, that got sort of kicked around a little bit, but this is still pretty stable. So look, you can see here that the 100 here, the 5,100, has become the support. It was the resistance here, and this is the battleground here, and it became support here, and we haven't really taken out the top there. So we'll try to be looking for upside movements at this point. So let's just take this count, which may or may not be correct, into the from 20,000 ticks into 1,000 ticks, and this is just looking at it as 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here. Now we're starting to see a nice little impulse wave to the upside here, so I would sort of suggest for traders this is probably wave 1 and 2 here, and a 3 and a 4 here, so we'll probably get a wave 5, or look, at the end of the session we could drift around here a little bit because we're going into the Asian mode, kind of what you want to be looking for is that top there. You want the top to go into play. So this will all pretty much sort of unfold in the Asian session. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Not sure about the 4 or 5. So then you could come over to here, and you can use the midpoint here, the 150, 5,150, to enter a long trade here. Then you got group 2 here, 65, 165, 65, 72 and 80. So you want to be building into this over here, and then you want to, if Friday morning is strong, then you want to continue to build into that. If Friday afternoon is strong, then you want to continue to build in that. If it closes strong on Friday, you want to hold that, because that momentum will be there for the Monday and following through onto the Tuesday, with a bit of profit taking on the Tuesday. So yeah, you're looking for a classic trading levels pattern on all of these little levels, and you're looking for strength in the market for that. Coming over to the NASDAQ as here, so I'll just keep it simple. I don't need to go into the bigger picture because we did that on the S&P. So at the 18,000 here, 8 is the third strongest number according to my little brain cells, 1, 5, 8 and then 3, a bit weird, but look, it's been trying to maintain support here, and now that we've had our little dance with our figures coming out, things should settle down a little bit. And obviously there's different ways to count this top here, but group 2 is support, and group 1 of 18,000, 1, 2 and 3 here is the resistance, and this is the support here. So we can see that it's been snaking across here. We haven't seen it really this is the high, so we'd go long above that high, and then we'll take the second high to go long here, and then we can really take any of these highs. This high here, I brought it down to this particular high here, probably a little ambitious. If you want to take it a bit easy, you could lift it up to this high. Now the count for this here can be that this can be the low here, and we can look at this as wave 1 here, with an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. So if that low stays in place, we did this when we did the stocks video, and the market has pushed up from that point. So it's possible, but if it takes this low out here, then we'll need to look at this here as the A, the B wave here, and then the C wave down here. So basically just a shakeout of any of the longs, and then coming back up here. So if this is the case, then you want to use the 18 here as a classic trading levels pattern to get in there on the long side. So then this would come over here onto this this top over here for this here. That's where you get in at that point. So yeah, otherwise yeah, just I say, you can, if you want to be sure, then this one up here. Probably a nice little way to do it is that if I can just clear this out of the way here, let's just assume for a moment that the market is the low here, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 like the S&P here, and we push up for wave 5 here. This is going to give us a little ABC pattern in here, and then we'll get another one on top of the 18,100, and if you can get that here, then you can just build on long at that point. You really want the market to prove to you that it's going up, and getting support on the 18,100 will be a nice move for that, because otherwise it can drop here and then move up from that point. Coming over to the Russell, I've sort of configured this in line with the NASDAQ, and yesterday we talked about the market moving down here in 5 waves, so we're pretty much there now. 1, 2, 3 here. Oh yeah, that's okay, and it does look a bit impulsive here, so it's a bit tricky when you're around large numbers, and the 200 is a major trading level. So if you're going to trade long here, then this is group 1, 10, 20, and 30. So you really want some type of first high above the 30 there to go long. So we can bring that down here now to down here. And of course you can refine that, and you could move in earlier as well. But this is probably a little 1 in here, and be a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 up here to make that first high above the level. And you can also drop it down into that point. The adding point to this is over here on the 50, on the 5, the 205, so you can move in on that. Now, will it do this? I don't know. The Russell's kind of got a, it's in a different situation, but if you get that support on top of 203, then we'll be on the long side. If you go in earlier than that, then you'll be at risk of being caught in a rally. Okay, over to the European markets, and the DAX here, kind of same as the S&P really. So on the daily chart here, we've got 1 and 2, and we've got 1 and 2 here, and then we're going up for wave 3 and 4 here, and then 5 for the 3, 4, and 5, and so on up there. Now I have to say this wave 2 to wave 3 here is a little bit short. It counts okay to this point, so we'll see how that goes, but it is short. If I take this to roughly there, it's sort of way up here. So we've got to get this, see how this wave 5 gets up here further for this. But anyway, we'll see how that plays out. But as far as this goes, the count's pretty straightforward as 1 and 2, and a little 1 and 2 in here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, the fourth wave, and then the fifth wave coming in here. Now the fifth wave here, because the extension's in the third wave here, wave 1 and wave 5 here can be roughly the same size. Obviously we're at 18,000 like the DAX, or the NASDAQ, and yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a tough nut to crack, but if the S&P is going to push up, then this is going to push up here as well. So we've got to kind of talk about this top here a little bit. So let's just go from 1 day to 1,000. I think we've been toying around with. Yeah, so I've just cleaned this trend up a little bit, but just to this wave 2 here, going up here to wave 3 up here. That's what we're looking for up here, okay, this wave 3 here. So within that, we've got 1 and 2 here, then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, the fourth wave in blue here, and we're going up for the fifth wave here. So it might be possible that we've got this in here already. I was just looking at this. I could probably squeeze this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in here and put this here, but then 1, 2, 3. We could have a top in play here, you know. That's my sort of fear at this point with this. Looks like a bit of a B wave here, doesn't it? Looks like I still could go down here on this. I mean, if the S&P is going to push up, this is going to push up. Yeah, not quite sure about this. But I reckon we could have one more high here. It wouldn't be that much, actually. But it doesn't appear that we've got this fourth wave here yet. So this is what we'll be up against. And normally what we would sort of see here is, you know, from group 1 top here, I'll just take it from number 2 here, we'd see a wave 4 come back into this space here before pushing up. So the question, you know, has always been, you know, do you want to take profit in this area and keep the stop out of the way here, you know, take part profit here? Do you want to get out here? Because the trend is still to the upside, you know, but I believe taking some of it off, you know, up at the 18 and above is fine, but that's sort of where we are at the moment. So the worst case scenario is we could move back into this wave 4, coming back to the previous wave 4s here for this. But if the S&P is going to push up, then we can go up there as well for that. But there's not much more room to the upside, put it that way. Do you know what I mean? So you need to protect these positions here. Okay, so that's the DAX, and we'll come over to the FTSE here. So it's a bit of a sort of dog's breakfast, this particular pattern on the daily chart for this market. But we've been looking at it as a possible A, B, C, D, and E here in Elliott Wave triangle with wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then pushing up. Now this little line through here is the 62 to 65, so it's the pocket from the top to the bottom here, and we can see that the market is really being sort of sitting in there quite nicely, not being able to get through, but it looks like there's sort of a slight possibility with a little bit of hope of it pushing through there. So the more that space can become the support, then the stronger the bullish pattern to the upside. Because it's such a dog's breakfast as a wave count, and I wouldn't put too much emphasis on trusting this 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 business here, but we've been at this for a while and it seems to be sort of okay-ish, but yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence in it at this stage. But that said, we've got to sort of put the sails up and go with the wind. So we've been doing that, and over at, I think it's 1000 area here, we've got this 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2, if you could have followed that through from the daily chart, a little bit tricky, I know. And then we're counting this up here, so I've just adjusted this a little bit. I'm going to look at this as 1 and 2 here, and then all of this, the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave here for wave 1, with some type of correction here for wave 2. So we'll just see how that plays out. But yeah, I think what we could do is just, if you've got an entry here, I think we need to just protect that. So we'll just flip that there, so that's safe. And look, you can buy new highs. That's not really a problem. But yeah, look, to be honest, you know, as like wave 1 here with a wave 2 here, this is just quite a big wave 2 for this wave 1. So this could easily be counted as some sort of, you know, corrective pattern rally to the upside. But as long as the DAX holds up and the S&P as basically, you know, starting from it all with the Microsofts and the Googles going up, then the NASDAQ's going to go up and the S&P is going to go up and the DAX is going to follow that, and the FTSE will look at it and say, wait for me, and they'll all sort of mosey on up there. But this particular pattern for this market is not, is not very convincing as an impulse wave. But it's certainly got more impulse than to the upside than that it's the whole market, the structures are pointing up and not pointing down at this point. But we could have a top here at any stage. So just protect what you have at this point. And then we come over to the Australian markets, and yesterday we were looking for a little C wave up here. I thought I'd get one more little wave up here, but I didn't get it, so got cut off a little bit early. But now we've got this one too. I could probably look at this as being completed here. At worst, there would be one more little move in here for this to finish off here and then move up. But that's the A, the B, and the C pattern over here. And basically the banks are going through this, except so ANZ hitting close on 30 and Westpac doing their little correction as well. The CBA is a little bit different. So with CBA here, we can look at this situation up here as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. I could sort of arrange it that this is an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here, and then go at that point. So that's possible. So if the 15 here becomes the resistance, the retested resistance, then you want to be, then you'll know what it is at this point. Okay, so I'll just have a little look at this on the I'll just have a look at 100 here. I'll just try to figure this out here a little bit. So this is the move here. Let's just have a little look at this here. So we can look at this. Obviously, this is as 1, 2, nice third wave and fourth wave here. So we can assume the fifth wave is in here. So 1 and 2 here. And then we've got a nice third wave in here. So we'll have 1 and 2. Let me just have a look at this here, get my head around it. So let's get a little tool. So that could be 1 and 2. There, I'm going to put that as 2. And I'll just put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I might as well go the whole Charlie hog. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 and 2 in here, because I can see it's a bit of a fine line really, if it's going to be completed or not. 4. And then where do we get 5 waves out of that? We've got overlapping, got 1 and 2, so it's 1, 2, still overlapping in there. That's there. So that's shit, that could drag it. If I did it correctly, that would bring that all the way down to here, and that to here, and that to here. It's a little bit small for a fourth, but I don't want to extend this out too much either. So that would be 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So it would be 1, 2, 3. Can I put that 3, 4? Can I go that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there to there? Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit. I just can't see it. I mean, so another way to look at many roads to Rome. Another way to look at this. If this was here, let's just give this a bit of definition as well as 1 and 2 here. As 1, 2, and let's just assume for a moment that this is a wave 3 here. So this would be a wave 4. So we're looking at the downside here, and we'll put this in here as wave 5. Let's just assume that this is how it is at the moment. Okay, so let's just look at it this way. If this is a wave 2 here, then this retracement here would be the 38.2% coming in at in that line here. So we could just draw that line here, and then that means that what we could do, knowing that if this level here becomes the support, so we got group 2 here, 65, 72, and 80. So what we could say, this is a bit like the S&P. It looks like we've got 1, 2 here and 3, 4 here. So we might get a move up. But what I'm sort of thinking is that this 65, 72, and 80, if the 72 here becomes the support here, we get the group 2 becomes the support in some way or another, right? Then you can go along at that point, and then you can also build on top of the 76.80. That way you're free at that point. Otherwise this can come down here, and if it does come down here, then you have to use this level here, the 76.50, and you just have to wait and eyeball it up to your best of your ability to see if it's actually going to become the support at that point. So you need to wait for more strength at this point. You know, this is one of the the problems of the difference between an analyst and a trader. So the analyst would say, they would do their work and say, yeah, you can buy it in this zone here and put the stop down here somewhere out of the way, you know. But I find that very dangerous. That's where you can get sort of large losses. So you need to basically put your trading hat on, and when you've got your analyst hat and you've done the best that you can and you can see the variations here, then put your trading hat on and look for the trade setups, and with the idea of safety first, because in this particular point here, we're trying to, you know, we are in the market in general, we are trading with the trend to the long side, and we're buying a dip, we're buying a pullback. But that dip or that pullback means that we'd be trading against that degree of structure here. This trend here, we'll be trading against it, you know. So that's a little bit takes a little bit of, you know, patience and skill. So anyway, we know that 38 point is here, so anything above that with support would be the long trade, and then you can just continue to build into that space. Also, just to let you know, on the Australian side, we have found a good analyst, an Elliott Wave analyst, and his name is Shane, and he will be doing Elliott Wave for many of the top stocks on the Australian market. So that will be coming in the few weeks ahead. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.